Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Lee here, Gold Shift Garage, the old WB. So as you can see, started doing some body work on all the panels. So tailgate already done, front nose cone in the process, and just behind me here, just doing some rust repair on that inner guard, and then we'll start attacking all these other pieces. So sit back, enjoy. Let's get into it. Righto, a little bit of rust repair on this inner guard. So I've already marked that out and cut it, as you can see. Now, it's got this big indentation here, which allows for that bottom section there to mount on. So what I'm going to try and do is replicate that. Let me take this off. One-handed, it's awesome. I'm actually going to try and replicate that using this offcut I've got, which I don't think will work out too badly. So let's see how we go. Righto, first section of this patch is done. I think all my gaps are good for the welding. Just got to clean all that up, obviously. But now I've got to try and make this indentation here where this whole entire guard mounts onto the body. That is going to be the tricky part. But so far, the progress and that body line isn't too bad. Righto, so the progress we've made so far on all the guards are nose cone, it's all done, waiting for epoxy. 2 inner guards, completed. The, where are you? Tailgate, completed. Rat shit, I'm gonna need a new one. That's cactus. I think you saw it in a previous video. And the guards. So all in all, that's actually pretty good. So they're all coming along, and right now at the moment, just down here on the front spoiler. So I don't have all your panel beating tooling. There was a big indentation through here. I'll flip it over. Might be easier. I don't know if you can pick up all the stone marks, but there was a big indentation through this curve. So I just got out 2 hammerheads, one on the top, one on the bottom, beat it out the best I could, and then we'll go over the top of that with filler. We'll see if we can get it a little bit better than that, but at the moment, that's actually not too bad. Ah, stinking cat. Yeah, so this is the next thing we're up to. Finishing off all this inner spoiler, bit of bog on that. Maybe stone guard, because it's going to be black, so maybe stone guard at the bottom. Seems though there's no rust, and I don't want rust. But we'll see how we go. That's the next project. Well, for the next couple of days anyway. So, righto, so I've just put filler on this bottom spoiler, I guess you'll call it. So, fair bit of filler on this actually. Fair bit of damage. Of course, where it sits, it's going to be full of rock dints. So we'll have a quick look. Right, oh, here you go. So it's not very thick, like just a light skim of filler over the top. But you can see where it just gets pummeled with rocks. So I'll give that a sand, see how she comes up. Should be pretty good though, I'd say. Righto, just so you know what I'm using. There we go, just the old Evercoat Rage Gold. So a lot of people seem to be using it, and to be honest, working with it, it's actually pretty good. So yeah, I'd recommend it. I know a lot of other guys that do use it. So I've just tallied up all the receipts that I've got for the build so far to this point. So that's all the materials, like including welder, gas, filler, new panels, floor pans, tooling, you name it. So this includes sandblasting and epoxy at the very start. So keep in mind that I've done 100%, well, 99% of the work except for sandblasting and epoxy, which is probably more than 1%. But let's have a look what I've put into this so far to get to this point. I'll spin you around, we'll check it out. Rightio. So that's where we're at the moment. 4,683 buckaroonies. So I'm not telling them the beer either. But you can see where all the money comes from, like when you pay someone to do all the body work, because there is so many hours involved, even just to getting it to this point, like floor pans, new back inner wall, all the body work, all the chassis work, all the underneath work. Now we're starting on all the panels. There's a shit ton of work. So not bad so far, I think. We haven't touched the engine or the transmission, so shit, look out wallet, here we come. So that's a realistic view of a costing breakdown pretty much to this point. So I better wrap this off the whiteboard before the wife sees it. All right, so I've just hit this with 80 grit, just to knock off all the major filler. And then we'll go over it with 120, and then we'll go over it with 240. First pass with 120. Actually didn't come up too bad. Didn't come up too bad. Well, that's after 240 grit. It's pretty smooth. No more pinholes all the way through it from all the rock damage. A lot better. A lot better. So that can go back up there with the nose cone, the tailgate, and those inner guards. And that's another one ticked off. We do have a list. We do got a bit of a list going on. So what do we got here? Back quarter panels, roof, nose cone, tailgate, front guards haven't touched, doors haven't touched, inner guards complete. And now we can throw on the front spoiler. You'll be okay. A bit more sanding to do here up on the roof. Found a couple of more little ripples, so I filled in those. This side's coming along nicely. I'm only doing the top half of this rear guard on both, so the top half of the guard up onto the roof and this other top half of the guard. As you can see, I haven't touched the bottom from this line down yet. I'll do that separately because I still have to repair that sill. So I'm waiting on 2 new sills to come from Rare Spares, and once they arrive, we can cut that out, weld it in, and then I'll go through and do the whole entire bottom section. But all in all, bodywork's starting to come along. Been continuing on with the sanding on the rear quarters here and up on the roof. So it's actually come up pretty good. So I'm happy with that. But Jesus, I tell you what, messy shit, isn't it? Like sanding all that filler. Messy shit, vacuum and all. So anyway, I'll spin you around. We'll have a look. Righto, up onto the roof. That actually doesn't look too bad. Doesn't look too bad, to be honest. Not too much filler in there, which is good. Down onto this rear quarter. Most of that filler's where the tarp mounts are, just covering up all those, the 3 holes that the tarp mounts create. So one thing I did want to ask, this here, I'm not too sure if it'll focus and pick it up. It's like lead. Just wondering if any of you boys have seen that before. It's on both sides of the roof up there and both sides of the rear quarter here. Anyway, moving on. All right, so that one there is pretty much done. I'm ready to epoxy that again. We'll go over the top of that with epoxy. Spin you around here. Fair bit of bare metal exposure again. So we'll have to epoxy all that again. But the same up here on the roof. It's actually not looking too bad. Did find a low just in this section here. So I just got to put a little bit of filler across there. And that should be the roof finished off as well. Definitely getting there, that's for sure. So time and effort, and it takes a bit of effort to sand all that too, but we're getting there. So I'll show you this mess that it makes, like when you're sanding all this filler off. Like there's not a huge amount, but that's probably about 5 minutes work, just all that dust there. So make sure you wear a dust mask, because it just absolutely gets fucking everywhere. And so I went out and bought one of these. Just a long sanding block with a vacuum attachment. So hopefully we can rig up something to hook up to the vacuum. This bad boy over here. And then we should be able to get rid of most of this dust, which would be great. So that's one thing you don't want to be breathing in, is all that shit that I've been sanding off. I've been wearing a dust mask because I don't want that in my lungs. It'll be shit house. And you can actually see like a white track leading to the house. That's where the footprints scurry off from the shed up to the house. So we'll hook it up to the vacuum, see how it works. Let's see if it gets rid of all the dust. That will be a bonus. Let's see if it works. Yes, you ripper! Yes! Yes! Righto, that's all I got time for. I've got to get back to work. Got to earn some money to keep putting into this. But we actually got a fair bit done, so pretty happy with that. Fair bit of body work, fair bit of panel work. Not too bad. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you in a couple of weeks when I get back.